So Roger, we've got a lovely shiny new car behind you here, the SR1. Can you tell us about this new exciting development for Radical?
Yes, this is a new championship that we're launching next year with this car specifically for novices. So it's people who have never raced before or are still eligible to have a novice cross on the back of the car. So that means they've done less than 6 races. And what we've done with this car is we've introduced something that is very cost effective, and it gives people all the training and a series of races all in one package, very cost effectively for £37,500.
And that's for the entire year and every single race?
Yes, that includes the car, includes a race suit as well. If you haven't got a licence before, it includes the test and getting your licence. Well, then if you've got a licence already, it will pay for the renewal of that. And then from there we'll have a couple of seminars, so we'll explain to people what happens during a race weekend, that kind of thing, how to go racing, and also how to look after the car and prepare the car for racing. And then we get into the track driving element of the championship, which begins with a couple of track days, exclusive track days with instructors. And we'll also give people the opportunity to practice starts, which you never do until you normally get on the grid. So that's a good one. And then we go to Bedford Autodrome, where they run a How Fast event, which is like a normal track day for an hour. And then each car goes out one at a time with a transponder on the car, and you'd have 2 flying laps to set your best time. So that gives people an introduction really into qualifying. And then we go to the races as well after that. So there's 4 race meetings, all double headers, and they'll be at Snetterton, Oulton Park, Cadwell and Brands Hatch, and they'll run through the summer next year, and they'll be qualifying, and obviously 2 races all in one day. We're aiming it really. We've had a lot of people coming to us in the past who wanted to get into racing, never been in a position before to be able to do it, and now that they are in a position to do it, there's a few kind of reasons or things that stop them from going racing. One being cost, another being the fact that they're going to be out there with lots of experienced drivers, and also the sort of complication of how do I start? I don't really know anything about racing, so this sort of wraps it all up in one package.
And I guess that the idea is that they can then progress through the ranks of the different championships with Radical.
Absolutely. Well, the prize, if you win the championship next year, is that you get a funded race in the Clubman's Championship in an SR3. So the first round of the 2014 championship, the winner of this will be out there racing. So yeah, and we've now got this stepping stone. So you can go from this into the Clubman's, and then onto the UK Cup, and then onto the Euro Masters. So.
And can you tell us a little bit about the car itself as well?
Yeah, so what we've done with the car is we've made it user-friendly as possible, and also ensure that it's got very low running costs. So it's powered by a 1340cc Hayabusa engine, which we've detuned to 185 brake horsepower, which in a 480 kilo car is still plenty to go quick. And we fitted it with road tyres, Dunlop road tyres. That gives us another cost saving really for the competitors, because it means they don't have to have slicks and wets. And we're going to limit it to 2 sets for the entire year. Because they're quite hard wearing tyres, it means that you could actually run 1 set for the entire year and still be competitive. So it means that you're not going to have to keep shelling out every weekend. So yeah, it's a fun car as well. We've been doing quite a lot of testing with it. And it's a proper little sports car, that's the other thing as well. It really is a baby Radical SR3, which is the intention of it. So it's got some downforce, but not the same levels as with the SR3, so it introduces the drivers to it. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Brilliant. And have any of the pro drivers tried this car, the SR1, just yet?
Yeah, we had a test day here at Oulton Park yesterday, and we've put as many people in it as we can, who have done a lot of Radical racing in the past, to get their feedback and, to get their comments, and every one of them come with a smile on their face, so it's absolutely great for us.
Well, we're at the front of the grid again for the start of race 2 here at Oulton Park. The Smiths and Moseley car is in pole position for this particular race, but it should be interesting to see whether Zach Chapman or the Ebbsvik car are able to match their earlier speed and success.
Well, will Zach Chapman be able to make it the double? It's going to be tricky because it's Stuart Moseley who starts on pole position alongside of his Marks Electrical Racing teammate James Littlejohn as they head off on the formation. That ready for the rolling start as ever. So here is a look at the grid. So Moseley and Littlejohn we covered. Then it's Ross Kaiser who lines up in third on the grid. Sean Bowles starts the number 11 car in fourth. Then Zach Chapman from fifth position. As ever, two classes, the Masters class for the SR8s and the Supersport class for the SR3s. Stuart Mosley slowing the cars down almost to walking pace as they then pace themselves up over Deersley. When the red lights flash out, we'll be racing here at Oulton Park. Who's going to get the jump from the line? As away they go, making a wonderful sight, surging towards Oulton, and it's Stuart Mosley who does turn through and lead the race. Littlejohn in second. Zach Chapman trying to come through, and he's tagged Sean Bowles, and Bowles turns around, and also Bradley Ellis has been caught up in that as well, as has possibly James Abbott. They all seem to be cleanly through there, and this is good news for Roger Green, who has suddenly found himself well up the order. So Green has really benefited from others having that slight misfortune. The leading trio, though, nothing to choose between them. Then it's Zach Chapman who's along in fourth, Manhaus in fifth, and there is Roger Green. He's jumped up to sixth. James Abbott in seventh. Tor Krishniewski completes the top eight with Alex Kapadia leading the Supersport class. Just tucked in behind him, Colin Noble and Jamie Stanley. So the battles starting nice and early throughout the field. And Kapadia already giving a little bit of grief to Tor Krishniewski as they accelerate out of Shellow's corner into the flip-flop chicane at Britain's, riding over the curbs there, Kapadia, as he leads the class. But Colin Noble, Jamie Stanley and the rest in very hot pursuit. Great battle at the front of the field though, isn't it? Because Stuart Mosley has got James Littlejohn and Ross Kaiser right behind him. Then we're going to repeat a race one with Zach Chapman and Manhalalos wheel to wheel, and James Abbott trying to find a way past Roger Green in these early stages. Into Druids they come. Very tricky corner, Druids. The camber changes throughout the course of the turn, and that means they just have to be a little bit cautious in these early stages. They wait to get those tyres up to temperature and into the hard braking zone for Lodge Corner. Ross Kaiser in third position in pursuit of James Littlejohn, and just looking over the pit complex, those are some dark clouds forming. Hopefully that won't be the precursor to any rain, as snatching a break is Ross Kaiser, looking up into Old Tool Corner, down through the Avenue and Dentons into Cascades. Littlejohn up behind Mosley, and Mosley runs a little bit wide there through Cascades. The car just slightly offline, but can Littlejohn pounce? And he's doing what he can. He closes up maybe by half a car length or so on Stuart Mosley, no more than that, as he rides in the slipstream behind his teammate. Then Ross Kaiser pressurising the pair of them. And of course Kaiser doesn't have the additional challenge of team orders to consider here, because whilst the Marks Electrical team like to see their cars right in the front, they don't want Littlejohn and Mosley to start tangling with each other, or indeed battling so hard that they bring some of the other drivers back into the mix. It's a mandatory 40-minute pit stop race as ever. And moving up through the gears, James Littlejohn, fifth gear as he crests his hilltop, then down over the brow of the hill into the braking zone for Hizzies. Still though, Stuart Mosley, number one on the car, reigning champion, leads the way. James Littlejohn charging hard in second position, then Ross Kaiser in third, just watching how this battle develops. Wonderful in-car shot, Littlejohn up into sixth gear over Clay Hill, down into fourth then for Druids, and you can see how much hard work it is for the drivers, really having to grip the wheel very tight there, Littlejohn, just to make sure he didn't get bounced out by the camber at Druids. So through Lodge Corner again, this leading trio of cars, and all the while they're breaking clear of Zach Chapman and Manhalos in fourth and fifth position, which is really what they'll be looking to do. So Old Hall once more, first, second, third, turn through in sequence. Littlejohn pushing very hard, as is Ross Kaiser. All of these drivers on the limit then. Roger Green and James Abbott, their battle continues apace. Tor Krishniewski also trying to join into that three-way tussle, and this, one of the strongest showings we've seen from Roger Green this year. He's clearly relishing his run towards the top end of the field, and he's got James Abbott all over his tail. There is Alex Kapadia. He leads the Supersport class, and then the recovering Sean Bowles. Good battle going on for second in Supersport between Colin Noble, Jamie Stanley, and also Darren Anley. So Anley, a newcomer to the championship this weekend, really going very, very well. The former Clubman's Cup man. It really shows just what strength and depth you have in the Performance Direct Radical Clubman's Cup by the ease with which many of their front runners are able to transition up into the Dunlop Radical UK Cup. As did the driving partners, this man James Littlejohn, Tony Wells, who takes the car over that mid-race, and at the moment James is doing his utmost to leave that car in a very good position when we do reach that mandatory pit stop phase. Working the wheel through Druids and accelerating over the ripples in the road on towards Lodge Corner. Just a puff of smoke maybe from Stuart Mosley as he pushes to the limit. James Abbott and Tor Christian Ebbsvik engaging in battle, and Ebbsvik was really pressurising Abbott as they came into his. He couldn't quite find a way past him. James Abbott able to come to the defensive line. Ebbsvik, graduate of the British Formula 4 champion, who's also raced Formula 3 cars in Europe. And he's up behind the BRDC rising star, James Abbott. Abbott also racing in the MSV F3 Cup this year. So he, as with Ebbsvik, has got plenty of experience in Formula 3 cars, which means when you've got the power and these large rear spoilers on the SR8s, it really is experience that proves invaluable. So Abbott through Lodge Corner, Ebbsvik in his wheel tracks, and also Sean Balfe is beginning to close in onto the pair of them. This race going together very, very nicely. We're going to take a short break. Join us in a few moments' time here for the conclusion of race 2 of Radicals at Oulton Park.